Fueled by Netflix Edgerunners and patches, Cyberpunk 2077 gets a second chance. Each day this week, more than 1 million people have signed in to play Cyberpunk 2077, and for good reason. There's no better time than now to try or revisit 2020's most infamous video game. Projekt Red, the game's developer, announced the stunning statistic Wednesday, a week after the debut of Netflix's Cyberpunk, Edgerunners, an anime show based on the game that's received rave reviews from critics and fans alike. Since the Netflix show dropped, Cyberpunk 2077 has seen tens of thousands of people on Steam play it, the largest concurrent player base since the game's December 2020 launch window. The show, which is canon to the game's story, also offers some emotional closure. No doubt, many players are revisiting Cyberpunk 2077 after the show reframed certain characters, igniting new feelings for old faces. Anyone who's beaten the game and finished the show knows exactly who I'm talking about. This phenomenon repeats Projekt Red's previous successful partnership with Netflix. In late 2019, The Witcher became the world's most-watched TV show, reaching 76 million households within its first month. The third game's audience ballooned in the following weeks, boosting its sales almost half a decade since its release. Steam's concurrent player numbers for The Witcher 3 at that time mirror today's concurrent player figures for Cyberpunk 2077. It's safe to say Projekt Red and Netflix have done it again. Projekt Red has announced that Orbit Books will publish Cyberpunk 2077, no coincidence, which is being written by Rafał Kosik, a Polish illustrator and prose writer best known for his work on Felix, Netainika, Vertical, and Chameleon. Kosik, a best-selling author among young people, also worked as a screenwriter on Cyberpunk, Edgerunners. Making Edgerunners that successful was a tall order, but the developers partnered with legendary animation house studio Trigger, Kill La Kill, BNA, Brand New Animal, to create something unique, a celebration of both Michael Pondsmith's world building when he created the original Cyberpunk board game during the 1980s and Projekt Red's 2020 vision. And it was built with an intention to serve audiences of both. My personal mission was not to make something that will be for everyone, but rather something that someone can truly love, tweeted the show's executive producer, Rafał Jaki. That stated intention flies opposite of what other media properties clamor for, namely a broader audience. Edgerunners was never meant to find a seat in the mainstream, it was meant to find a place in your heart. It's a reversal of fortunes for Cyberpunk 2077. 2 years ago, the title suffered a disastrous and buggy launch after revelations that it performed poorly on consoles and didn't deliver on the many promises implied by its years-long marketing campaign. In 2020, the game was a joke. Today, "It's good now" is a common refrain from many players. "Thank you so much chums for this second chance," tweeted Paweł Sasko, Projekt Red's quest director, using a term that loosely translates to friend in the world of Cyberpunk. Sasko has been a jovial, reassuring presence through the studio's streams about updates to the game. It's a reversal of fortunes for Cyberpunk 2077. 2 years ago, the title suffered a disastrous and buggy launch after revelations that it performed poorly on consoles and didn't deliver on the many promises implied by its years-long marketing campaign. In 2020, the game was a joke. Today, "It's good now" is a common refrain from many players. "Thank you so much chums for this second chance," tweeted Paweł Sasko, Projekt Red's quest director, using a term that loosely translates to friend in the world of Cyberpunk. Sasko has been a jovial, reassuring presence through the studio's streams about updates to the game. Cone points to the game's 1.5 patch in February as the beginning of this resurgence, an update that not only brought PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and Series S versions up to performance standards of the current generation, but introduced a host of changes that restructured the game, how it unfolds and how its setting, Night City, feels. The game at launch encouraged unbalanced builds, but by adding and removing certain abilities while rebalancing how weapons are used, Projekt Red made building a character of special abilities feel consequential and engaging. Traffic and pedestrian behavior was fixed to bring Night City's bustle up to standards of other open-world games. The game also saw updates to how its side quests are doled out. Fixers, who offered jobs to Cyberpunk's mercenaries, were given a linear structure with powerful, meaningful rewards at the ends of quest lines. Notes and environmental details were scattered throughout the world to give additional context to these gigs, adding more flavor and context to the player's actions. And other side quests are marked clearly on the map so players don't miss them. This was important, since the game's side stories were easily missable, but also often praised as the game's best-written content, reminders of CD Projekt Red's exemplary strength in video game narrative. And finally, Netflix's debut of Cyberpunk, Edgerunners has people clamoring to visit or revisit Night City. The show has been a powerful statement of how transmedia storytelling can be successful. Paramount's Halo TV series was blasted by many core fans for how it differed from the original product. Edgerunners not only embraces its video game roots, it bakes the architecture and layout of the game directly into the anime. The entire Night City video game world was used as the show's stage and setting, rewarding players familiar with the game. Playing the game after watching the show, in turn, feels like a continuation of the adventure. The show's story may have ended, but Night City persists in the virtual world of Cyberpunk 2077. This is transmedia convergence at its most powerful, coherent and cohesive in design, theme and intention, a feat that challenges even behemoths like Disney and Marvel. Edgerunners succeeds because of its adherence to the spirit of the game and its design choices. The show uses the same soundtrack and brings to the forefront several of the game's radio tracks. The song I Really Want to Stay at Your House may have been a sad but bouncy city pop track, but Edgerunners recontextualizes it forever as a hymn of mourning. Nondescript city blocks in the game now hold a certain nostalgia as memories of the Edgerunners characters flood into the player's mind. By timing the game update with the incredible anime, we were able to connect Cyberpunk 2077 gamers with Edgerunners viewers and build excitement for both at the same time, Kohn said.